Namaste, everybody. My name is Joy, and normally I write my blogs on my WordPress, but today I'm making a video blog, mainly because I have a sick little baby that I need to attend to, and this is faster than sitting down and typing everything up, you know. So, bless you. You want to, hold on. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay. So today's vlog, that's fancy, is about a little bit about spiritual teachers and spiritual enlightenment. I actually wasn't planning on speaking about spiritual teachers, but this just came to my mind and I wanted to say something about it. Just because somebody tells you to be cautious or wary in choosing your spiritual advisors doesn't mean that person is a good spiritual advisor for you. What's going to determine whether or not somebody is a good spiritual advisor for you is whether or not you are comfortable, as in your inner self, your intuition, your gut that tends to not lie to us because it has not been taught to doubt itself. If your gut tells you that you need to seek your guidance elsewhere, even though this person has a lot to offer you and they've given you a lot of information thus far, you should probably go with it. Also, I'm inclined to believe that if anybody is charging you money for anything, I'm not for that. I realize that people have to make a living in this economy, and I also realize that I'm a fan of certain authors. There's a difference between authors and spiritual advisors who charge you money for information. If it's something really, really pertinent to you and to your life, I would think that if somebody who genuinely cared about your well-being wanted you to know, they would just tell you, you know. And any techniques that I've learned, I have not paid for anything that I've learned ever. Unless I was paying to buy a book, okay? I haven't paid another individual for sensitive information that's really, really important in terms of my spiritual growth. That's just a gift. That's a gift we want to give people. You know, once you have a spiritual awakening and things are happening for you, you don't want to keep that to yourself and not share it with anybody. Like I want to share it with everybody. I had a spiritual awakening and I fell in love with all of you guys. And so I want to give you what I have, and that's also part of the lessons that I try to teach myself in love and compassion and equanimity and selfless service and the letting go of the ego. My desire to help others comes as a direct result of wanting to live those things that I think are so important. And so it's important for me that when I'm helping somebody, or I'm offering somebody advice or suggestions, or even spiritual guidance, that I not charge them money. I've been given gifts. I've been given money. For a while I really didn't take it, but you know, mother or two, sometimes I'm just like, I appreciate it. That was another lesson that I had to learn is it's so easy to give a gift. It's difficult to accept gifts. It's difficult for us to accept and to love ourselves. And I think there's an important lesson there too, that if someone's not charging and you just feel inclined to give them something, a gift, a card, money, I've done it. I had this really great tarot reading done by a nomad who was essentially city hopping downtown, and I ended up giving him some money. He did not ask for money. We spoke for about 45 minutes, but I felt really, really inclined to give him a gift, you know? And then I had to learn how to receive gifts. Anyway, I'm totally trailing off. I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos and read a whole bunch of articles about blogs and things, what people are offering in terms of spiritual enlightenment and suggestions and advice, you know. And I came across this series of videos that gave very specific, they weren't even suggestions. This person was just straight up saying, this is what you need to do or you can't attain spiritual enlightenment. It won't happen for you. So I wrote them down. I just wanted to go over them a little bit and say what my thoughts were on them. Number 1, do not consume fluoride ever. I am inclined to agree with this. I don't use products with fluoride in them. I have a water filter because I'm pretty sure it's in the water supply. And there's more and more evidence supporting that fluoride can build up on your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is your third eye. Essentially, it grows. It's been scientifically proven to grow bigger in people who practice meditation or trance or yoga and things like that. I think it's a really, whatever's going on in there right here has a lot to do with helping you get in touch with source and your inner self. And so you should take good care of yourself, i.e. do not consume fluoride. Totally agree. Fantastic suggestion. Do not consume any aspartame ever. I agree with this one also, and I will tell you why. I believe that your body is a temple and you should treat it accordingly. And there's a good rule of thumb, which is funny saying that I probably shouldn't use, but it's if it comes in a can or if it has a really ambiguous label, you probably shouldn't eat it. And I agree. Now, I don't think that if you do consume aspartame, that it's going to prevent you from having a spiritual awakening or becoming more aware of yourself and your connection with everything. I don't think it will impede your spiritual process. However, I think that as we all grow spiritually, we automatically become more inclined to take care of ourselves, to take better care of ourselves. And things like aspartame and fluoride and alcohol and artificial things just tend to fall off on their own for us. We start gravitating towards a more naturalist approach to our health. I think that that's an effect, not a cause. There are people who eat naturally who will never have a spiritual awakening in their life, and they will be living in a third dimension for the entirety of their existence. And then there are people who, drink Diet Coke all day, and they're the most spiritual people I've ever met. So I don't think that that's going to prevent you, from growing in your path. We all have our own paths. I'll say that more than once. Your path is your own. Listen to your inner voice. Listen to what your intuition is telling you when you get that feeling in your gut. The next one. Avoid eating GMOs and non-organic food. As I previously stated, as we grow spiritually, we become more inclined to gravitate towards a more naturalist approach. But I don't think if you eat GMOs and non-organic food, that's going to prevent you from being a spiritual person. This is just a vessel. We are so much more than this vessel. We will naturally want to take better care of it. But that happens in its own time for each person on their path. Avoid watching television. Yeah, go outside. Get with nature. Spend some time with your family.
With your family.
Yes, spend time with animals. Hug a tree. Talk to a dog. Why would you want to sit in front of a television all day? I think that that's just good advice. Good advice. Sound logic. Question your education. If your soul is telling you to question how you've been taught and how you've been raised, go with it. Your inner self does not lie to you. Your inner self wants you to be a being of pure light and love and acceptance and freedom and good stuff that feels good in all of your chakras. Anyway, reevaluate the validity of popular opinion. Formulate your own opinions. Do your own research. It actually, we go back to the thing about cutting off, television and sensationalized media. When you cut those things out, it's a lot easier to study your own interests and do your own research and formulate your own opinions. Absolutely an advocate for that. Know yourself. This is all about knowing yourself. If you want to make an impact on the world, if you want to do what you were sent here to do, then your spirit will guide you. Next on the list. Look within yourself to discover who you are. I've already said that more than once. Yes, meditation, prayer, yoga, a long hot bath where you just sit and breathe and think about yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. What do you see? Journal, write it down. How do you feel about yourself? The more you do this, the more you will see a shift in your consciousness. You know, when I first started looking in the mirror, I thought, oh God, who is she? Before I thought, who is she? I thought, what is that? What is that? Is that a zit? Oh my God, what is that? What is this? What's wrong with this body? And now when I look in the mirror, that doesn't happen at all. So this is a beautiful person with a lot to offer and a lot to receive. It just comes naturally when you make enlightenment your top priority, which means to me at the beginning, if you decide to go on a journey of introspection to get to know yourself, you are starting your path towards enlightenment, and naturally things just start changing. But we can really benefit from all the suggestions given to us by spiritual teachers. But again, somebody is trying to sell you a book that says all of these things and doesn't want to offer you anything else, any support, any lessons, and just wants your money, and your gut is saying this is not necessary, then it's not. Homer's not going to eat that banana, honey. If you don't want it, put it on the table. Keep a regular spiritual routine. Yes, obviously, practice makes perfect. The more you meditate, the more you're going to get to know yourself. The more you get to know yourself, the more you're going to realize how you relate to the world around you. The more you will wake up, and the more you will have to offer. Let go of all your judgment. Everybody has their own path that they're on. Their path is not yours. You don't know their life. They don't know yours. If you take all of that energy that you're putting towards anger and resentment and judgment and non-acceptance of others, and you put it towards love, compassion, equanimity, conquering the ego, all of these things, then you will have a spiritual awakening. You need to shift your priorities if you're coming from a selfish place. Only you can decide for yourself and listen to your heart. If your heart is saying to you, well, yeah, you're being kind of selfish and you're operating from ego all the time, and you should probably take a look at yourself because you are so beautiful and you have so much more to offer the world, go with that. Another thing with that, it's a hard lesson to learn to forgive others. In my opinion, it's an even more difficult lesson to learn to forgive yourself and deem yourself worthy of what you have to offer yourself. If there's anything that I want a person to know, and only meeting them once, if I just get that vibe or sense about them, I will say, you know, forgive others, forgive yourself. If you lose your temper, if you make a mistake, part of your lesson in growth is acceptance. And you have to accept yourself for all that you are. And yes, we have faults. We are not perfect. We are human beings in this round. We are fallible. The important part, though, is love. The most important lesson is love. And you must love yourself, which means forgiving yourself, before you can love others and offer others the love that we all have within us to offer. Last but not least, make enlightenment your top priority. We previously mentioned that. I completely agree. I made that list, and I made these comments on that list because The video that I watched, the video series that I watched was actually this list of things to attain enlightenment, all leading up to please buy this book for $25 or essentially you're not going to attain enlightenment. That is not true. You don't have to spend money. It's not about money. It's about what lessons you have to learn in this life. And if you have the desire to know yourself and to learn these things and to grow as a spiritual person, you will, without spending money. It's a beautiful thing. I'll leave a link under the video for my WordPress blog because I'm better in typing than I am in speaking. I love all of you. This was absolutely a pleasure, and I look forward to making more videos. Namaste. Thank you for watching.